Whoa. So, hey, how's it going? Ken Poirier here. Talking about Rick and Liz. Sorry, I'm doing a lot of videos today, so this is my second video today. So I got a lot of things I got to talk about. I haven't been talking about them, and I need to spend more time talking about it. That's what it is. So Rick and Liz. So Rick and Liz is a book that I've been working on. Like 2 years now I've been working on this book. And it has not been easy. No siree. So Rick and Liz, the first, it's a saga. It's the Rick and Liz saga. So it's not just a book, it's like a series of books. The first book being Love and Hamburgers. And Love and Hamburgers is about Rick and Liz meeting for the first time. It's romance series. Paranormal romance series. And so Rick and Liz, they meet for the first time in Indiana, and they go on a road trip to Los Angeles to get some In-N-Out burger, but it might change. I think it's gonna, in the final version, it's gonna be Out and About burger. That's what we're gonna say instead of In-N-Out burger, just for whatever. But it's really In-N-Out burger. But anyway, so they got to go to Los Angeles from Indiana so they can get some In-N-Out burger. And but I've been kind of working on the basic beginning, middle, end is done, except for I have to put in some more of the paranormal stuff, which I've got pretty much worked out. I know exactly what's going to happen with that, but I want to wait until I get this other part that I'm working on right now done before I actually get to the writing that out, because that's kind of the last thing I want to put in, because it's those ideas that will carry through the other books in the series. And so I want to make sure those are just right and I got all the details right, and that it works in with my overarching plot, arcing, whatever, however you want to say it. So, but I've been dealing with these characters that I don't want to screw up, and their names are Mandy and 2fly, all right? And the reason why I don't want to screw them up is because they're both black, all right? And they come from cultures that I'm not unfamiliar with, but that have been part of my life, but only through knowing people like these people. Oh, these people, see, I've done it already. You know, they're based off of friends of mine. That's what I'm saying, is that the characters are based off of, everything in my book is based off of something in real life. It is all made up. But you know, you got to do justice. And when you're dealing with people from other cultures, you want to do your best. Now, a lot of people, when you're writing when you're a writer, you got to be able to write for everything, because you're the only one. It's just you. I can't like take. Damn it! I'm in traffic again. I'm gonna have to go back. I'm not going through traffic again. I'm gonna just go back down the way I came. I'm not really going anywhere. I'm just recording videos. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So like when I did A New American Tales, and I did The Bear Wife, which was northeastern Native American culture, which whether you want to say the Acadians are, white people, Indians. I'm not gonna get into that debate. I don't care. There's a history of people living side by side and sharing culture. And did they bone or not? I wasn't there. I'm not gonna get into that debate with all the different parts of my family who boned who back in the 1600s. Okay. But I knew I was writing books about America, and then in order to write books about America, you have to write books about the American Indian, Native American, whatever you want to call it, whatever your preferred terminology is. It would be wrong to exclude them, if not spearhead them, right off of the start. And I didn't, write about culture I didn't understand. I started with the culture related to my family, and then I did research from there to expand it out, expand my knowledge, and look into the values that the society holds, and include those in the story and make those the most important, the highlight. And people were like, "Oh, do you have the right to write about Native Americans, blah, blah, blah." And I say, "Well, was it a bad story?" And they're like, "No." I'm like, "Did I do anybody injustice?" They're like, "No." Well, I'm like, there you go. Then I guess I do. I guess I do have the right to write about whatever I want. In fact, that's really how I feel about it. But, it's already hard trying to make sure you respect people's cultures without people trying to grill you about it all the time. If I screw something up, please do let me know. Let me know. I'm not really, I'm not going to fight you very hard, especially if you can make a valid point as to that I screwed something up. I would gladly correct it. But that brings us to Rick and Liz, and talking about Mandy and 2fly, or Jerome. It's his actual name, but 2fly is his stage name, and what he's referred to as in the book is 2fly, the number 2 FLY. And he's a black man, ex-military, army. He served in wartime. He lives in the poor parts of Denver, and he's a hip-hop artist. He writes raps. He's a rapper, a lyricist, if you will. And he's got a perspective on life that's hard and cold, but he also knows how to have fun and laugh and all that other stuff. And he talks like his culture, all right, his culture, And I've been putting off writing his character. Mandy's character is a little different, but we'll talk about that at a different time. Right now, I'm just talking about 2fly. And so, man, it's really loud. All these cars. Ah. So, anyway, this guy here, he's very blunt in his speaking. He's crass and crude. He's even crasser and cruder than Rick and Liz are, and they're pretty crass and crude. It's the whole book is pretty crass and crude. These are people who live in a crass and crude world all together. This is why they're But this whole section of the book, and it's like 3 chapters. It's a really huge section where Liz is already looking at Rick's culture of the road life and how that's different from what she's grown up with, and then now she's thrown into this I don't know, ghetto-y, I guess is the better word. I mean, they're not poor people, but they live in the poor part of town, you know. They do well, you know, they do okay. They own their house and stuff, but they own a house in a non-gentrified neighborhood. It's rough and dirty, and they have to deal with that stuff. And so, hanging out down in South Central LA here for the past couple of months, and talking to people and getting to know people and getting to know more people, and getting people to share their stories with me and tell me things and talk about how life is, and acquiring some of that language. And I know that the characters are in Detroit. I mean, not Detroit, Denver, which is, you know, it's Denver. But 2fly's character in particular, he's very influenced by, oh man, how'd I end up on Rossmore? I'm gonna have to cut around somehow. You know, he's a hip-hop artist, and Los Angeles has a lot of influence on hip-hop culture, and the way that, you know, through the music and the way people act and speak and all of this. Ooh. And then this asshole's got to park right in front of the only ramp. It's full of mud anyhow. Alright, I'm not going down Rossmore. I'm going to go up Arden instead, because it'll be different. You know, so that's really, I've been working on it, and I'm finally getting these chapters together, because let me tell you, they're rough chapters, because whew, I need some water soon. They're rough chapters because bike route, woohoo. So because not only is this where we really get to see, because Rick and Liz, since the beginning of the book, have been together, just the two of them, and they might be talking about this thing or that thing or this other, or these other people in their lives, but they're not really interacting with other people. In these chapters, they really get to branch out and see how they interact with different people. So you get to see how Rick is interacting with Mandy, who happens to also be his ex-girlfriend and his ex-manager, who's now 2fly's girlfriend and manager, and how 2fly and Rick interact with each other, both being musicians of different natures, but sharing the same, not at the same time, but sharing the same girlfriend and manager, music manager. How Liz gets to view this and see this, and how she has to now interact with these other people on her own, because she doesn't have, Rick's not being that buffer anymore, because now he's occupied with his own, with these relationships of his own. So she's got to now branch off more and do things on her own. But there's this big scene, and it all happens at the hip hop club, where 2fly is having a performance, and so 2fly does a rap. He's got a speech that he says, he's got a speech, a rap, and a monologue. Okay, it's a lot of stuff. And I got the monologue is solid, and the speech is solid. I wrote the speech a while ago, like a year ago, and just wrote the monologue a couple weeks ago. Get out of the way for this car because he's waiting for me, which I appreciate. And I just finished the first draft of the rap, and it's the first rap I've ever written. All right, and remember, when you read it, I want you to read it and look at it. I'm posting it up here on my Facebook page. Remember, this is the character 2fly and his vocabulary, all right? And he's an imaginary person. He's made up. He's not a real person, but he's based off of real people. To have, trying to make it as authentic as possible and be respectful and all that. So, if you guys want to take a look at it, take a look at it. But keep in mind, it is rap, right? It's hard, crass lyrics in it, all right? There's some tough subject matter, all right? I don't know. But I want you to look at it. It's called 2fly's Rap, and I'm gonna post it up on my Facebooks, all right? So that's all I need to say. Now hopefully you can understand what all that's about, and thank you. This is Ken.